Last week we were filming feature documentaries. And this week is ESPN Boxing in Arizona. So we're setting up, and I love that I'm using clove hitches. These are knots that I learned in Boy Scouts a long time ago. So this rig has been through 6 fight nights. Every time something gets changed and adjusted, and right now it's in a really good spot. So A7S3, 24-70 Mark II. This light is really nice. And then a little small rig arm, DJI RS3 Pro. And then they are providing this mic. And so if you see in the last video, you can see how much this rig has changed, but we had gaff taped a mic holder on, and now we have a much better option. So this is also from Small Rig. And then we have the tripod, which is very convenient. But when we're holding it, now we're implementing this belt system. So we'll be able to close the tripod, put it in here, and it can just rest on your waist, which is gonna be a huge help since we're running for hours and hours straight. And then that's our RF backpack to transmit signal. Not really our department. But other than that, this rig is pretty much optimized.
Now that's a professional tape job, man. I know how to stick it to them.
So testing lighting conditions, because the color temperatures are different between the hallways and the main event rooms, the bullpen rooms, and so we're just storing all of those as Kelvins in here. And with the A7S3, you get 3 stored Kelvin presets. I think they got audio covered. So all the other cameras get to be color shaded from the truck, but we have to do ours manually and dial in the white balances.
You know what quarter brace is? Quarter brace? No. Quarter brace. Is that an actual back brace? Yeah, man, quarter brace.
So traditionally you would have a broadcast camera on a movie or a large gimbal, but they are trying to use this type of system since it has a smaller footprint. The only problem is the people who are in the industry don't know how to use this camera, so they need a specialist, someone who knows how to use a Sony Alpha. So that's where we come in, since our team is very familiar with the line of cameras. And we have an issue where as the fighters are coming down here, there's all different lighting situations. So we're gonna put it on auto ISO. And you see right now it's at 8,000. Maybe try to bring it in there. There we go. So we're having an issue when we're talking to the truck. They're looking at our signal and they're saying it's just too bright. So we can't change the aperture because that's the whole point of this camera, is they want a shallow depth of field. We can't change the shutter speed. So I was thinking, let's just go to the menu. So when I go to exposure compensation, I can just use this to decide how much I want to over or under expose the evaluative meter. That's way too much work. So luckily the A7S3 has the dial right here. So I can just put us at, you know, a quarter stop, full stop, up to 3 stops below, and then that will allow us to have a little bit more manual control while running in auto ISO. Fight day breakfast. Each time I walk into the stadium, I'm amazed and just happy to be here. And it seems like this role that I have is actually popping up more and more for these massive sport platforms. So this is Top Rank Boxing with ESPN. I remember I first saw this style, large sensor, shallow depth of field on a gimbal, in the Super Bowl last year. And then I took notice of it 1 week later for the UFC. And while I was here, I talked to a guy who said, yes, we're doing the same thing for the MLB, and we just started it 2 weeks ago. So that could be a massive opportunity for other people who are kind of in my experience range, who are very familiar with these mirrorless cams, which most of us are. It might be worth it to market yourself as such because these big entities are looking. Here I am trying to listen to all the chatter happening onto the headset. You have it on your head the entire day, and as far as my position, I don't get spoken to maybe for 45 minutes at a time. So I have to work hard on not zoning out and letting all that verbal communication just become noise, because there will be a big gap in time and then boom, they will say, set camera 13, take 13. And that means within that half a second, I was supposed to prepare and now I am live. So you really got to be on the ball and stay focused. And I'm just trying to learn all the lingo because I'm definitely one of the new guys here. Seven fights tonight, all Mexican fighters, so you know it's gonna be good. And this guy's getting walked out by a cameraman with his camera shoulder mounted. So we are just a few steps to the side, right behind the curtain, with our second fighter. And in my opinion, the gimbal looks way better. It's just way smoother. But since we only have one of this system, that means one fighter gets walked out with a camera shoulder mounted, and then the other gets walked out with it gimbal mounted. And he's getting ready to go. The energy in the building is intense. It's such a big, different type of job than my corporate and dock work, but I am super happy to be here. And then we start walking him out. So I couldn't grab much of this footage. I got to focus on what's happening. We put it on autofocus, let it do its job, and then we're out. Back and forth, walkouts, locker room, walkout, locker room. I'm really trying to figure out how to interact with these fighters and their teams because I do not want to disrupt them at all. But I saw a little bit of a space issue. So the couch was right there and I ended up moving it over so that they had a little more room to walk around. And so did we could, as the cameraman, have a better angle. But when they started shadow boxing, they just moved behind the couch. And you can see JD here is filming them and his shot is actually frame left. You can see it on the TV. It's on a little bit of a delay, and then it was time for the main event. Last fight of the night. This is literally what we've been waiting for. So we start a little further back, and then we slowly creep in down the hallway. We meet the fighter, and then walk back and turn them out to the bigger cameras. So as the main event's going on, we're trying to get fans who are like really excited, showing flags, doing everything, but nothing with the actual boxing ring. Each time as the round started to end, I would run back to the front row and get the reactions from these two former famous boxers. Fist bump my camera, we're done. There we go, we finished.
Will JD make his flight?
JD?
The world may never know.
He has like an hour and a half to get to his flight, which, as you know, flights start boarding 45 minutes before, so small chance he'll make it. So we gotta break everything down, but we get in and out catered for the exit dinner meal. This Thursday, I'm taking my Filmmaker meetup outside of Orlando, flying to Atlanta. So if you're in Atlanta this Thursday, August 17th, it's an open invite. Come on out, meet some other filmmakers. I've had a good response already, so I think there's gonna be a good group. It's at a steakhouse right by the airport, and I'll be there for the night. So come on out, let's meet, network, and have a fun time.